I am Jake.
Hello, Alex.
Welcome back again. Today is the 40th anniversary of the day that Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, was released in theaters. A movie that we know pretty well.
You could say that.
I think it's your favorite movie, or one of?
It is absolutely my favorite movie. I mean, I can't even think what would be a distant second. By comparison, Mary Poppins, Perfect Storm, I don't even know.
And my favorite Star Trek movie is First Contact, because I grew up more with the Next Generation crew, but Wrath of Khan is really good. It's a definite sci-fi classic. We reviewed it a couple years ago, and since then, haven't seen it in a while, but it stuck with me, the Star Trek franchise. Well, I'm more of a Star Wars guy.
Oh, you mean you didn't see this in the theater in 2018 like I did? Oh, okay.
Anyway, today we're going to react, pay tribute to CinemaSins video, Everything Wrong with Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan in 16 minutes or less.
Should you put a trigger warning up here? I mean, this could be problematic.
Possibly. CinemaSins, I've done a few reactions to them. They're a channel where they take a movie and they list what they consider the sins. And just to be clear, because a lot of people give them shit for being nitpicky, overly negative, but they've admitted that they deliberately nitpick, and people say they're not a good example of a review channel, but it's clear they're doing this mostly for the laughs. And in their review of Star Trek III, the guy who does the voiceover said, I really do like this movie, but I'm nitpicking it for the job. So
you do have to be careful, because sometimes I think when things are reviewed from this time period, what they gravitate towards is like the special effects that may not have held up over time. And I think that's going to be something that's natural for any film made in that 70s and 80s period, prior to that CGI. I mean, they did the best that they could, and I'm hoping it doesn't just go there. Obviously, it's not a perfect film. It's so nostalgic to me, I'm probably a little defensive, but I'm hoping it doesn't just go to the special effects.
Sometimes they pick apart a movie for stuff that they consider not acceptable by today's standards, which I admit can be a little grating, but they're not like that all the time, and I do enjoy some of their stuff. And without further ado, let's jump in. This came out around the time of Star Trek Beyond, because what better time to sin the Star Trek movies?
I mean, we could sin that movie all day long, but
I think they probably did.
Yeah. Sacrilegious. It's like, what's wrong with the Bible in 15 minutes or less, right?
Nothing for nobody. Ricardo Montalban? How could I possibly sit through this movie and not make like 1001 Fantasy Island?
That's okay.
Yeah, I know he was in that one episode.
That's fair.
Wait, also, what about in the 23rd century? What about it, huh? What about it?
Starship Enterprise on training mission to Gamma Hydrans.
Movie drops Enterprise name into the Kobayashi Maru test, pretty much only to try and trick the viewing audience into thinking this opening sequence is real and not the Kobayashi Maru. Jeez, Spock, Uhura, Bones, and Sulu? Could the movie be trying any harder to make me think this isn't a Starfleet Academy test? Also, are we really to believe these three super senior officers are spending their time play acting as junior bridge officers for the sake of college students?
Stand by.
Nice dramatic turn entrance, but what the f*** were you doing just now facing the science officer's ass? In other words, dramatic turn for the sake of dramatic turn is dramatic turn.
Klingons on attack course and closing.
Don't worry, it's those exact same Klingons and the
reused
exact
footage.
same formation from the exact same shot in the first Star Trek movie. V'ger will take care of it.
V'ger.
This is a simulation, right? Why would you put something that dangerous in a simulation?
It was the most interesting thing in the
and
first
now
movie.
find out it's a simulation. None of what we saw mattered. Still, this fake action.
It gives
the first
Kirk his dramatic entrance.
What about my performance?
Little McCoy personality.
Sulu's that was the best in this scenario. And it looks like he pulled off another amazing feat by disappearing from this scene altogether.
Admiral.
Wouldn't it be? George Takei. Kirk collects old revolvers and old ships. What marvelous character development by set design. Also, that telescope is clearly pointed at the apartment of some promiscuous Greek.
But
now you get the
in character.
fireplace wall of
Yeah.
Yes, it's very 80s decor.
Hiding from your shelf cliche.
But these things develop themes later.
This planet is
This poor guy.
So this movie suggests it's really
I love
hard to
Captain
find planets with no life. Futuristic communication displays will have terrible horizontal hole. Did they get this guy off a scrap heap from the Blue Lagoon auditions?
True.
That
Because this
perm.
beam you down roughly several thousand yards from a maybe possible life form thing. Space breaking and entering. Yeah, we're definitely positive this place has oxygen, so let's remove our helmets instantly. Science! This asshole has 2 copies of Paradise Lost and 1 copy of the Holy Bible. We've been standing here in a sandstorm waiting for you to come outside just for this dramatic moment.
Starship Reliant to Captain Terrell.
Wait, that dude was the captain? And he went on a away team mission with 1 other dude? How many Starfleet regulations did that shit break?
They did that in the original series all the time.
And the Next Generation.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe they briefed you on the existence of this guy Khan, but you were in the episode Space Seed, of which this movie is a continuation. You were even in
Okay.
that season.
Yep.
And then
That's
this-
continuity error, for
Yep.
sure.
Check off.
Captain Kirk was your host. He repaid his hospitality by trying to steal his ship and murder you.
Thanks, expositional checkoff. Oh no, that worm is about to go inside
Yeah.
that shaped Play-Doh. I see the crew is still taking smaller ships and shuttles to the Enterprise. And they're still
Another
We're getting a lot of
reuse
reused
scene.
footage, yeah, that's fine. They're taking whatever good pieces from that first
They
one.
had to take some shuttles here. But now that all is normal, can't they just beam to this thing? Second Star Trek movie,
True.
the first Star Trek movie didn't slobber over the Enterprise enough, so adds more slobber.
I had a
Should be
week
slobbered
of-
over.
Dr. McCoy pulled me through without a lump. Surely.
Is this movie saying Scotty has gonorrhea?
First training orders, Mr. Preston.
Yes, sir.
Well, see to it that you don't die tragically.
Did you pilot a starship out of space dock?
Never, sir.
Well, it's easy. You just tell Sulu to pilot it.
Take her out, Mr. Savage.
In the future, we will be calling women misters, despite Star Trek being one of the most socially inclusive properties of all time.
True.
I mean, why not just refer to her rank? No, you might be tempted to think this guy down here is waving goodbye to the fleet's flagship. But really, he's just trying to get their attention to tell them they left a coffee cup on top of the ship before they go. His efforts were in vain, and a $6 coffee was
That's
also-
funny.
And reused
Are you
footage.
wearing your hair differently?
It's still regulation, Admiral.
It is? What the fuck isn't regulation then?
May I speak, sir?
This logic-driven, nervous rookie Vulcan stops the turbo
Yeah.
before even asking if she can speak freely. Based on this shot alone, how am I to know if I'm on the 4th or 5th floor? I feel like I'm on the 4.5 floor, just based on the signs. This futuristic science station is composed of 40% light brights. Is it cool? This
Okay.
mirror is a mirror that also has airport landing strip lights inside it? Yes. Yes, it is. Is it in any way practical? Well, I can't see how it
It's
possibly
Vulcan.
could be practical, so no.
We're the only ship in the quadrant.
As always, the Enterprise is the only ship in the quadrant. They should have named the Enterprise the Serendipity.
Spock, these cadets of yours, how good are they? How do they respond to real pressure?
Well, they're cadets, so...
So much for the little training cruise.
Was that what this was? What the fuck was the newly minted Admiral Kirk doing on a little training cruise? Thank God he's a micromanager, huh?
He tasks me, and I shall have him.
Now I can see why that copy of Moby Dick was haphazardly tossed on the top of all that divine comedy we saw earlier, so that Khan could completely ignore the message of that book.
Well, I've got sickbay ready. Now, will someone please tell me what's going on?
If you don't know what's going on, then what do you have sick bay ready for exactly?
Identify for retina scan.
Kirk. Admiral James T.
Processing your obviously completely different expression from the previous shot, Admiral. How much money did they spend on this high production value video about
A
a
lot.
super secret thing no one's supposed to know about? How many graphic effects artists had to sign NDAs just to get this thing made?
Matter is reorganized with life-generating results.
And despite this lifeless moon or planet's distance from sun, it will be able to maintain that life for some reason.
It's one of ours, Admiral. It's Reliant.
Okay, so Kirk doesn't know that Khan and crew are free and in control of Reliant, sure. But a quick microsecond computer search will reveal Reliant is the Federation ship assigned to Regular One, the space station Kirk got a personal emergency message from. So, you know, one sin for no individual or computer
This
on
one
the
I-
ship.
you know,
Like a basic Google search for the Reliant at this point.
You can't blame Kirk for
Shields
that.
down.
Which is amazing, because you'd think that something like hijacked ships were just common enough that the Enterprise would be cautious in a situation like this. For a ship that doesn't have its shields up, the Enterprise takes these phasers like a champ.
Yes.
Thinks a series of explosions in this sector would lead to devastation, but you'd be wrong.
They knew exactly where to hit us.
Oh, except where the weapons
They'd
are.
be done.
The chances the Enterprise gets a chance to shoot those up. Have we pointed out how amazingly crazy-ass lucky Khan is yet? Chekhov just happens to land on his exile planet thinking it was a completely different planet on a mission involving Project
okay.
Genesis, something that can both create and destroy all
That's
life
a
on
good
planet.
scene.
Invention perfect for megalomaniacs. He wants revenge on Kirk, who also just happens to be tagging along on a training mission when everything goes down, and he comes to the scene gift wrapped for a revenge plot.
I defied your shape of power, and when I swing around, I mean to deprive you of your life.
Classic movie villain.
Wanted you to know first
Give them time.
who it was who had beaten you.
Okay, fair enough. He wants to rub it in, but why did he shoot that photon torpedo at the bridge a minute ago if that was his plan? That easily could have killed Kirk.
You
Yes.
hand over to me all data and material regarding the project called Genesis.
Why does he need that from Kirk? Doesn't the Reliant have the same information
Yes.
the Enterprise does?
I'll give you that.
He tried to get as much info from Chekhov and Terrell that he could, right? This is some bullshit just so Kirk can buy the time necessary to escape.
Admiral, it's coming through now, Khan.
Khan is kind of a stupid fucking idiot to fall for this stalling tactic.
I agree.
Yes.
I
And they say the amount of time, and it's like 4 times the amount of time. Yes. Yeah.
Phasers on you prior to firing, you could tell.
Lock phasers on target. Locking phasers on target.
They're locking phasers.
So what gives, yo?
Meantime, let's find out how badly we've been hurt.
Screenwriter timing allows for this tragic real-life answer to Kirk's rhetorical question. Also, can you think of any reason the chief engineer would leave the engine room, carrying a dead body,
In a
and shoot
bad.
on the bridge like
Dramatic.
that, towards the
Well,
open
it's his
air
relative.
room of his own making, which good for him, facing his demons, tending to his flock. But it's kind of downright unbelievable not one of these injured or maimed patients calls Kirk out for wantonly ignoring the call to raise shields at a time that would have avoided all this carnage. Not one boo or anything.
Is the word given, Admiral?
The word is given. What? What word? What does this exchange mean? You're allowed to die, kid? Who is
Good
it
point.
you're opposed, Scotty? While you cry over one dead trainee of many, who's fixing the goddamn ship and doing their duty right now, huh? Eh?
He's got minions.
Engine room reports auxiliary power restored. We can proceed at impulse power.
And the trainees down there in the engine room did it all without the help of seasoned veteran Scotty, who was in fucking sick bay crying over a dead kid. Also,
His
they
relative.
power before, and they just now restored auxiliary power? How did they do all that they did to the Reliant with the existing power they had? Hey, we're beaming to a science station that might be held by enemy.
That's okay. That would happen all the time.
Shall we? Somehow, despite all logic and Starfleet regulations, this away team includes the captain, the chief doctor, and a brand new recruit with no experience, making it the least logical away team in the history of Star
I'm
Trek.
sure it isn't.
What? Is this an even more ridiculous rap than the one that shows up in a vent at CIA headquarters in Mission Impossible? Or did Scorsese possibly direct this? Character accidentally bumps into dead appendages cliche. Now I know where Jurassic Park got it. This movie must have blood for super bright red paint.
Yes.
Creatures in our bodies to control our mind.
And he's hoping
Sounds
you forget how
perfect.
stupid it would be for him to take them out before you got here, so that he can trick you again.
You make it down here.
Was that my impression? He spent most of his time trying to wring the information out of the people.
Khan apparently tried to extract information from everybody on this base, but somehow didn't scour the area looking for a place like this, which would have told him everything.
The unit's been left on, which means nobody remained to turn it off.
Because, as we all know, Star Trek transporter rooms are turned to the off switch after successful transportation.
Admiral, if we go by the book, like Lieutenant Static,
Look, Khan is a super genius, okay? The fact that he doesn't realize he's being tricked right here is insane. Hey, Lieutenant Savick, don't bother scanning for life forms down here or anything. That's not important at all. By the book, indeed.
I'm sorry.
Mind control slugs apparently leave enough of the original brain behind to allow for apologies like this, I guess.
You son of a bitch.
Well, as long as the
Bye-bye.
character is
Yeah.
okay with the sex symbol evaporation.
You ugly cock.
And the absolutely totally mind-controlled guys suddenly have a hard time following orders. Starfleet
This
captain
Kirk
who's
is
mind
awesome.
controlled to this point somehow overcomes his mind control, which sounds awesome until I tell you he only overcame it long enough to commit suicide. And why does the other mind control worm want to escape all of a sudden? Did it feel its twin get murdered? Now it needs to move. Dude, at least let it crawl away from Chekhov for a few seconds before obliterating it. Jesus. Also, dude, you're tricking him about the time the Enterprise needs to heal, remember? Why are you so upset at this apparent radio win by Khan? Is this method acting?
To make him think he's in
I'm there,
distress.
a person who obviously didn't watch the TV show or the first hour of this movie. Let me exposition you to death.
How can you think of food at a time like this?
First, how could you not think of food right now, dude? You must be hungry. If you're not hungry, you might be an alien controlled by the ear slugs.
Why didn't you tell me?
How can you ask me that?
Is this really some baby mama drama in a Star Trek
It
movie?
is.
Skip.
I
Genesis
always
is not
skip it.
connected with the production designer about whether there's such a thing as too many waterfalls.
Go to Spock. It's 2 hours. Are you ready?
right on schedule, Admiral.
Wait, you spoke in code earlier because they could intercept your transmissions, but now you're, what, speaking in anti-code? Awesome Kirk is smart moment absolutely ruined by the inconsistent logic.
We were immobilized. Captain Spock said it'd be 2 days.
We suggest you can carry out conversations during transportation.
They're inoperable below sea deck.
What is working on?
Not much, Admiral. We have partial main power.
Ah, partial main power. That explains nothing.
Sauce for the goose, Mr. Savick. The odds will be even.
What? Walk with purpose now. With purpose. Do these crates all need to be lifted up before torpedoes are fired? Because if so, that's fucking stupid.
That is
Why is the
inefficient.
torpedo loading bay super huge and open to human beings? Shouldn't this be even on the
Yes.
other side of the... Oh, this is the dumbest torpedo protocol ever.
It's
Also,
okay, it's a
torpedoes
dramatic
can explode
moment.
and launch the Federation.
Not as dumb as those pipes on the
Jesus
floor in the
Christ,
fifth
they go
movie.
small
Yeah.
Every time they launch a torpedo? Because haven't I seen Kirk order someone to fire the torpedoes plural before? Imagine all these below deck performers having to do all this double time.
Reliant is closing.
I will give you the time before we hit the nebula, but I will not give you any kind of time data on the ice that wants to kill us. That I shall leave vague.
They just don't want us going in there.
David pops onto the bridge seconds after the ship-rattling warning shot from Reliant, during which we were treated to a shot of David not anywhere near the bridge, down below with the doctor and his mother.
Continuity.
I'm laughing at the superior intellect.
Khan falls for this.
Raise the shield.
Is accurate, sir. Not functional.
Why is the nebula selective about what can and can't work inside of it? I get the monitoring systems going out, even the shields, but why not a whole bunch of other systems, like the ability to fly the ship?
James Horner, baby.
And ends up directly behind the Reliant somehow. I mean, Jesus, there are no shields up. This ship has been hit 1,000,000 times at this point.
Yes.
It's on its
And that
Does
I
it take
don't
to kill it?
understand.
I've got to take the mains off the line.
I have no idea what any of this means. The power this ship uses and runs out of is completely random whatever nonsense to make the movie more dramatic. And this particular plot development would lead to Spock making a dramatic sacrifice, well, until he appears in the next movie.
He's intelligent, but not experienced. His pattern indicates two-dimensional thinking.
He's not intelligent, Spock. He's a fucking genetically engineered superhuman whose inexperience with starship battles should not prevent him from thinking three-dimensionally. Funny how these two ships lost in a gas cloud continue to fight each other at the last minute on the static field monitor. These guys are playing Battleship, but with flashes of the opponent's board before they take a shot. How is everybody dead on the bridge except Khan? Yeah, he's got
So he can deliver the final line.
Yeah.
Explosions, right? I can't stop giggling at this engineering dude back here. From the looks of it, just has a bad headache. But we can't read the situation or even notice it.
Engine room, what's happening?
Man, he waited a long time before calling down there a second time. Spock was still on the bridge the last time he called engineer. Why aren't there radiation suits for exactly this kind of occurrence?
I think you better get down here.
You need to take a look at this cliche.
Spock!
This is a room you get killed for going in. You go in here like when you're a technician at a starbase and the ship is in for an overhaul and the radioactive engine has been shut down for a while. But sure, let's put an intercom in there just in case we ever need that.
Ship, out of danger.
Gotta admit, Spock's sacrifice is one of the most badass moments of badassery ever badassed, and we will remove 5 sins for it.
Sweet.
We are assembled here today to pay final respects to our honored dead.
He's dead now, but only if this movie is an absolute total failure. You know what brings people back from the dead? Straight cash, homie.
Cha-cha-cha-ching.
Goddamn, this scene gets me every time. 2 sins off for real emotions in the Star Trek movie.
Only
They
2?
totally going Spock out onto the Genesis planet. I mean, thank God they do, but that's not the point. Do Vulcans not have burial rituals or cemeteries?
Even though it's racist. Human, Vulcan, Vulcan, human. Yeah.
And that's exactly what walks through the door.
To be your son.
Then James T. Kirk and his son have many, many adventures after this movie.
Not so much.
As long as we remember it.
And we write screenplays with Spock in them. We really, really, really don't want you to actually think we killed Spock.
That's a little much.
SETI Alpha 6 exploded 6 months after we were left here.
Ever since CinemaSins began, the most requested thing has
It's
been...
tradition to play clips from the movie with some funny editing
Click the
at
link in
the
the
end.
description below to
So,
check it out.
just
And
wait a
now,
sec.
The audio outtakes.
I'm your doctor, and I'm your friend.
I'm a politician, which means I'm a cheat and a liar. And when I'm not kissing babies, I'm stealing their lollipops.
Hey, don't open that! It's an alien planet! Is there air? You don't know!
Galaxy Quest.
My dear guests, I am Mr. Roll. Welcome, Fantasy Island.
The planes.
Oh, Muppets.
I guess we'll be going down together. I mean, getting off together. I mean...
That's okay. I just push the button for the stimulator. I mean elevator.
Admiral, please.
Gosh darn it, I give up. It's yours, you can have it.
More Galaxy
Give me a minute,
Quest.
Put it in a box for you.
What did you just say? On the test, sir.
How'd you do it, Frank? How'd you pass the bar in Louisiana? He's intelligent, but not experienced. His pattern indicates two-dimensional thinking.
You're just not thinking fourth dimensionally.
Back to the Future.
Ironic, because he's in the 3rd movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. Even though, again, the sins aren't really sins. There's no way there's over 100 sins here, but
Some of them were legit, some of them were just nitpicky or jokes.
I mean, with any film, there's going to be 20 sins in it, right? And this one obviously is an 80s movie. There's going to be some continuity errors in every film. There's going to be some outdated stuff in every film. So, yeah, I think some of the points that he brought up are valid. I think he missed some things as well, but I think they captured it well. I think it was a fun review.
The thing that I never noticed was that guy rubbing his head.
Yeah, I've never noticed that either.
Once you see it, it's hard not to giggle.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite part is where he's like, Khan actually falls for this.
Oh, you get caught up in the moment, right?
Yeah. It's one of the better CinemaSins videos. And at the end, I liked how they used some of the Galaxy Quest lines.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is a great parody of the Star Trek franchise. They do that bit where they take a sin or two off. They think it's really good.
Yeah.
And Ricardo Montalban, he was great as Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Wish,
I'm not going to argue with that.
Wish they had actually had a scene of him and Kirk together, but Fantasy Island was his first priority at the time.
I mean, there's plenty of things that you could poke at with this movie. Even as a kid, you notice the recycled footage, right, of Star Trek 1. But I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Star Trek 1 even. And I think they took some of the better pieces of that and saved money, right? Another piece, it does get very kind of slow on the Genesis planet and some of the exposition. I get that. I always wondered, why don't we ever hear from more than one of Khan's henchmen, right? I mean, there's only, the one that speaks, and then they're all silent except for him.
Well, do you want to take dialogue away from Montalban?
True. But, there's plenty of things in any movie, including this, classic, that you could point at. So, but I think overall, many of the sins were just, to make the review. But
just to make
I think
it
they
funny.
gave it its all due respect, so that's great.
Yeah, it's clear. They like it, but they're making fun of it because it's their job. The final line I thought was, one of the last lines I thought was a great one to go out on. Kirk and his son had many adventures.
Yeah. One more.
Something I wish they had acknowledged was, yes, Spock's death is a great scene, but something that really makes it work is William Shatner. As much shit as people give him as an actor, that scene I think is the highlight of his career.
I mean, the whole Luhtjarv Nebula battle is one of my favorite pieces of filmmaking of all time. That whole 20-25 minute segment right in there. There are even 2 5-year-olds in Hillsborough that love it, so.
Yeah, and also, Chekhov, you weren't there to see Khan.
True, but he would have known about it, right? So.
And the same director, I believe, came back. I'll put his name down here, escapes me at the moment. But the same director would come...
Meyer, Nicholas Meyer.
Yeah, Nicholas Meyer. He would come back and direct the last of the original cast movies, The Undiscovered Country.
Which is, again, probably the second best of that original series, so.
It's a good send-off to the original crew.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, it's been 40 years since it came out.
How does that even happen? But
hard to say. Some movies that came out the year I was born, so 27. Goddamn. Anyway, hope you have a nice celebration if you're a Star Trek fan. Hope you have a friend like this to sit next to you and just spit fire all that shit.
Yeah. Very useful information.
See you again soon.
All right, live long and prosper.